Hello, my name is Ben.
My name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates.
So today we're doing it with none other than Kevin Lewis G. Welcome to the show. You've seen him before. How you doing, man?
I'm good. International breaks finally. Obviously, we get back to club football.
Yeah, we love to hear it.
Yeah, so first of all, what I want to know, what everyone else wants to know is, how come you're a Chelsea fan?
Local. Can't really go much further. That and they're my favourite colour. Thunderbird 1.
Thunderbird 1.
As a local fan, you must get to a few games then over the season. Do you get to a lot of games, Lewis?
Season ticket holder for the last 2 years. I mean, they don't really mean anything now, but it meant something back then, so yeah.
Yeah, and records it along the way as well. We'll obviously leave a link down below to Lewis's channel. Check it out, lots of good content on there as well.
So, speaking of Chelsea, on FPL, who would you bring in from the Chelsea team into your team?
Timo Werner, I'm dropping it right now. I don't care if he ain't done anything in the last 4 games. He's playing up front. He ain't playing on the left side anymore. Any time to put him on, it's now.
Right, we'll remember that on Monday.
If he don't score now, I'm so but yeah, we move.
If he doesn't score, best believe we'll all get him on Twitter and slandering him after everything we see over there.
I will hold it, but I know Werner's going to hold it down for me anyway, so I'm calm.
That's a big risk.
So other than Werner, is there any other Chelsea players you get into the FPL team?
You go for one of Zuma or Thiago. Actually, no, Kepa might be starting. Forget that. Midfield, Kai Havertz, as usual. Timo Werner's going to be banging it. I think it's going to be Kai Havertz. It's going to be him setting it up. Christian Pulisic as well. It's his first game fully back from injury. Should be starting. Ziyech, maybe. I don't know if he's going to start. Might be coming off on the bench. He did only play the 30 minutes on international duty. I was going to say Kante as well, but he might have had a muscle injury today. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but because of that, I'm not going to go too much into it. Maybe Jorginho. I mean, he's had a pretty decent start to the season, so you could throw him in there as well. But mainly Kai Havertz and Timo Werner.
What about Ben Chilwell? Who do you pick in?
Is he back? He should be back for Saturday, right? If he is, yeah, I'm going to add Ben Chilwell as well because he's already set the standard for left backs.
Fair play.
Right, so let's get into Lewis's FPL team. Lewis, how did you do last week? And do you really want to go into it?
I think I did badly. I don't know, you lot are going to have to walk me through this one.
You did badly.
Okay.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That I've not seen many worse.
I don't bang FPL out like that just to say this now because I barely an idea what I'm doing. I'm picking players I think are going to do well, and that's
so. To put context into this, last week, compose yourself, Ben. Lewis got 22 points.
Is that good or bad?
Really bad. Very bad.
Okay.
Yeah, you captained Werner, who didn't do anything.
Yeah. Had a -2
weren't up
Van
front.
Dijk.
Van
Yeah,
Dijk.
that's Liverpool's fault. I'm not even holding anything about that. It's Aston Villa. I expected better.
Yeah,
Oh,
so yeah. Fair to say, a poor game week for Lewis. But how are you looking going forwards? What's your team looking like going into this next game week?
Yeah, I've made a few transfers. I think it's the first time I've touched it since the season started. But yeah, I've made a few changes now. I'll put Hugo Lloris in goal because second season Jose, that defence is still going to be a madness regardless. And I got Alderweireld in there as well because I already said I rate him the most out of any of their defenders. And that's the most Tottenham credit you're going to get from me this video. Thiago Silva and James are in there, even though Kepa might be starting, which might have been a little bit of an L from me, but I'm still going to have 2 Chelsea players in there because I'm biased like that. And Van Dijk's in there because he's got to have a better game after that last one.
Surely.
Who knows?
Bruno's in there, and I don't really know your form whether I should even have him in there, but you lot might get a jamming
Always
penalty,
gets a
which will be
pen.
a couple of
Always
points.
gets a pen.
Dele Alli as well, so I'm just going to go past that because I don't like Dele Alli, but he's there. And I think Leicester v Villa, that should be a decent game for them regardless, but I haven't really thought too much in the midfield. Werner's up front because I said this is going to be the one week where he should be banging in points because he's back up front. And like we said about Morpay, he's come out of nowhere. I thought he was going to be a little bit underrated, and I think he's got a couple decent points.
Yeah. He's got over 30 points already this season, which is really good.
Yeah, Bamford's also had a pretty decent start to the season as well, so I've kept him in my squad. Do they have Wolves? Probably should get a goal in there, I think, but yeah, that's my team.
Yeah, decent team. It's very, very interesting that you've got 3 Tottenham players in your team.
Second season Jose, I've called that from the start. even with that little jammy start to the season they had against Everton, Jose always gets he gets the best out of the players in his second season. I'm not going to say too much about past that because you've seen it, we've seen it, all falls apart in the third season. But this is the big season for Spurs. If they don't get a trophy this season, they never get it.
Average point is 48 over W points.
But 22, like each player, if they play 90 minutes, will get 2 points each. So 11 times 2 is 22. So
Wow.
Lewis is fucked up here.
I don't think you could have put that in a worse way, bro. You're saying my whole team just showed up.
I might have to leave that in, you know.
Wait, are you wrong? Yeah, keep this in.
Oh, that's no idea. You have no idea.
See what I mean by it's serious about FPL.
Right, so this is my favourite part of the show. It is test your guest. I'm going to get 60 seconds on the clock and we're going to test Lewis and see if he does really know a lot about Chelsea and maybe a little bit about FPL, but we're not too confident on that based on the conversation we've had so far.
That's a no.
Are you feeling confident for this though, Lewis?
Yeah, calm.
We've got Johnny Vick, you got, what was it, 6. We've had a couple of 7-pointers in there, so that's a standard that's been set. Let's see if Lewis can beat it. Josh, 60 seconds on the clock. 3, 2, 1. Who has had the most FPL points so far this season for Chelsea? You've only got 60 seconds.
I was about to say Pulisic, but no. Havertz.
Wrong, Jorginho. Who is the most expensive asset for FPL on Chelsea?
Ziyech.
Wrong, Werner. There is currently one player in the Chelsea squad in the top 5 for all-time Premier League appearances. Who is it?
Lampard.
Aspilicueta.
All-time Premier League.
In the Chelsea squad. How many clean sheets did Chelsea keep last season?
Last season? 5.
9. Tammy was your top scorer in the Premier League last season, but how many goals did he score?
15.
Correct. Open day beat Brighton 3-1, but who scored for Brighton?
Oh, I don't know.
5 players have got an assist for Chelsea this season, name one of them.
Werner.
Correct.
Bro, really?
The last trophy won to Europa League, who scored the opening goal in the final?
Giroud.
Correct. Who is the only player in Chelsea's team to be on minus points for overall in FPL?
Captain.
Wrong. So, bit of controversy because it was who's registered an assist this season?
Yeah.
I've said out of Premier League who's actually assisted it, but because Werner got that penalty against who is it? West Brom or
Brighton.
Or Brighton, because Werner won the penalty against Brighton, we'll take it as an assist and we'll give you an extra point. So
I think I'm still bottom, but I'll take it.
Oh, God. So Lewis, overall you've got a total of 3 points.
And what are Chelsea getting on Saturday? 3 points. So I'm happy.
He may have exposed himself to some sort of knowledge, but we move and it just makes it a lot more entertaining for me anyway. I'm very much enjoying this. So you got 3, but I don't really know what else to say at this point. You got 3 points.
Did I beat anybody?
No, you were about 4 off anyone, so we move. Right, so it is that time of the week, the Guest Captain League. As we can see, last week Connor went for Dominic Calvert-Lewin game week 4, got 12 points. So that puts him slap bang in the middle of the table. Not a bad pick from Connor, but obviously he could have got more points because he wanted Kane, didn't we? As we said last week. So Lewis, if you're going to pick anyone to get the most points in the league this game week, who are you going for?
It's the gunman that hasn't been played in his right position the last 3 games. You're already doubting him, but you already know the name I'm about to say, Timo Werner. Put him on.
So we've got Timo Werner here. How many points do you reckon we'll get? How many points do we reckon? He's down there.
That's for
Can I be real? You lot need to go through the point system with me first, because I don't know. I could say
So
something.
Aubameyang scored 1 goal, and that's where he's
He's got 14 points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the midfielder.
Midfielders get more points.
Calvert-Lewin scored 1 point. He's got up there.
Yeah, so.
So 1 point
And
gets 12 points.
Bruno Fernandes here, Alex Peters did nothing, so that's why he's only on 4 points. I don't know whether I can see Werner returning, but it depends. Obviously, if he plays up front, I'm not too sure about what's all going on at Chelsea in terms of players coming back. But yeah, Werner could be a good option. We'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. So it's time to do our captains of the week. Josh, who are you saying it's not really a great
No.
game week for picking a definitive captain of who's going to get all the points, but it might make it a bit more interesting in terms of overall rank if you get a captain that returns.
Yeah.
Could be quite good for that.
Yeah, so obviously no one really standing out, so I'm just going to go for potentially one of the easier fixtures and a player who usually returns quite frequently. We're going to go with Bruno Fernandes against Newcastle. Obviously they didn't play well, I know that, don't get me wrong, but he's on penalties. The guy literally gets a penalty almost every game, and Newcastle, they've looked a bit shaky at the back this season, like most teams. So I'm feeling, a 12-pointer, I'll take it, you know what I mean?
Right, so for my captain pick, let's go Harry Kane. I'm gonna pick him because obviously he's on penalties, just like Fernandes is. Against West Ham, potentially could see him getting a couple of goals, maybe even a penalty. Have to see, because West Ham obviously look quite good, but that'd be the one I'd go for this week. It's quite an easy pick for me, to be honest, because no one really has great fixtures. So
yeah, if you have a Spurs asset, that's probably also just as guaranteed a pick. So after that disaster class from Lewis, we're going to move on to the fixtures of this weekend to look forward to. Starting off at lunchtime on Saturday, it's Everton versus Liverpool.
What a game this one could be. We've seen Everton in red hot form, Liverpool the complete opposite, losing 7-2 to Aston Villa. This could go either way, but some big news regards James Rodriguez, doesn't it?
Yeah, so he's obviously been on international break with Colombia. There's unsure about if he's going to return in time and be fit enough to play, because obviously played 3 games over the international break. So it's a bit up in the air at the minute, but hopefully he does play, because a lot of people own him.
Yeah, I've got him in my team, and I'm just thinking Ancelotti, without that James in the team, they're not going to play nearly half as well.
Yeah.
So I think if he is back in time and if he's even well rested, I think he'll play, to be honest, because he's so crucial to Everton's success so far this season. So the game as a whole, it could go either way. It could be Everton smashing Liverpool, it could be Liverpool smashing Everton. I'm all here for it though.
Or it could be 0-0 like it's been like the past however many times.
Yeah, we all hype up these games and they will turn out to be 0-0, so we can only hold out hope. Right, so the 3 o'clock game on Saturday is Chelsea as they host Southampton. Of course, we know Lewis is our guest Chelsea fan. This could be a good game for Chelsea.
Yeah, it could be. Southampton, though, have been defensively solid so far this season. I think they've kept 3 clean sheets out of 4, so they're looking good at the back. Chelsea need to prove to us what they can do going forward with these new players that they've got back now, with Pulisic and Ziyech potentially back into the team. So hopefully they'll be able to get some more firepower for Werner.
Although I can't see it being too high scoring, we've got to be aware that Will Hasenhuttl will keep up that high press and that high line, because a team like Chelsea will exploit that 100%.
Yeah, like we saw against Spurs, obviously losing, how many did they lose by?
A lot of goals, a lot of points.
Son scored
a lot
lots
of
anyway.
hurt, to be honest.
Right, so moving on to 5:30 on the Saturday, another big game, lovely Saturday of football this. It's Man City versus Arsenal.
What a day of football this is. What a day. City, they're looking like
All over the place.
De Bruyne obviously potentially could be out. Jesus and Aguero could be coming back into the fold. Aguero's been in training.
Yeah.
Sterling could be out. It's not looking too great in terms of injuries, but it's a lot of 50-50s whether these players are going to make it for the game. I think if they make this game, they'll probably beat Arsenal, to be honest. But of course, under Arteta and with Thomas Partey in that team, they look a lot more solid.
Yeah, Arteta versus Guardiola, and a really good battle this will be. Arsenal look decent, they've played quite well. They've had the second least amount of shots in the league at the moment, which is obviously not great, but they've looked good and they've faced quite a few hard fixtures, this being another one of them. So if Aubameyang can get into his groove, I think Arsenal could upset Man City in this game.
Yeah, it's been a tough start for Aubameyang, but maybe this sort of game is the one that he needs to be able to really kick on. And finally, on the Saturday, the last game of the day, Newcastle, who are playing Manchester United. We saw what Newcastle did to United last season. As a neutral, I hope that happens again. I'm sure you probably think differently.
Yeah, it's the first pay-per-view game as well, which is another big thing. United obviously looked so bad against Spurs. I don't see it happening again. I think they're going to come back with a bang. Newcastle have looked a bit up and down this season. They've played well, they've played bad. They've got a lot of good players now, Newcastle, sorry. So they should be a much better side than what they was last year, which is a bit dangerous for that United team.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if United can break down this Newcastle team. We've seen them really struggle to break down teams who like to play a low defensive block. So it'll be interesting to see if they can break it down. Can't see this one being too high scoring though.
No, definitely not. Martial's out suspended. No Cavani due to his he has to isolate. So I reckon we'll see Van der Beek potentially start in this one, and hopefully he can get on the scoreboard again. So Sunday, we're looking at lunchtime. It's Sheffield United versus Fulham. Probably the worst game of the weekend with Sheffield United's form at the minute. You're looking at Mitrovic, Sheffield United defenders if you still have them. I know I do. It's going to be interesting.
Now you say it was going to be interesting. Will it?
It'll be interesting for FPL.
It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top, because Sheffield United haven't had a great start, and I do believe they need to be kicking on. They got the quality in that squad to be kicking on to higher places. We could see the first start for Ryan Brewster, Sheffield United's new striker, and we could see Fulham made a few signings on deadline day, see how they fit in. But to be honest, I can only see Sheffield United win comfortably because Fulham do look that bad at the moment. Right, so the 2 o'clock game on the Sunday is Crystal Palace against Brighton. Will be a really interesting one to watch because Palace have looked quite decent in patches, and Brighton, I've been thoroughly impressed by the way they've been playing this season.
Yeah, Brighton got a few good assets, especially Tariq Lamptey that a lot of people brought in on the wild card. Neil Maupay, one of the best strikers in FPL at the minute, one of the top scorers. Then you got Palace, who are great defensively. It'll be interesting. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in this one though, and it'll be interesting to see for your assets.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a lower scoring weekend than we've had in the past. I mean, it's about time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, Tottenham versus West Ham is the 4:30 kick-off on Sunday. Tottenham coming off obviously that 6-1 win against United. Harry Kane's been picking up a little niggle over the international break, so it'll be interesting to see if he starts. I highly doubt he won't start. West Ham have also looked really good. I've said this for a number of weeks now. You need to not discount them. They've got a lot of good players in that team. They should really be edging for a top half of the table finish with the players that they have.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying that West Ham look so good with everyone wanting to bring his Tottenham assets, with me included. West Ham could do a job on Tottenham, and I could see maybe a low scoring game again. And maybe West Ham sneaking something out of this game.
Yeah, obviously everyone's trying to bring in Son and Kane as they played really well to start the season. But I would personally back West Ham. You got the likes of Antonio, a lot of people are overlooking. I think he is a good asset to have at the moment.
So the final game on Sunday is going to be Leicester against Aston Villa. Another really interesting game. Leicester have looked really good from some games, but other games haven't quite looked so on form. And Aston Villa actually do look really solid this season with the additions that they got on the back.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting for Aston Villa because they've played 2 below par teams, and then they've got obviously a really good result against Liverpool, but again they have their injuries. So they're facing a good Leicester side. It'll be a good test. It might be a good measuring point for how Aston Villa will do this season.
Yeah, it'll be good to see how they do play, because obviously that Liverpool result was we've never seen anything like that before. So it'll be good to see where they come in here, because Leicester are probably one of the top 6 teams in the league. They have a quality squad, quality manager, a really great system that Villa may struggle to come up against with what they play, but Emi Martinez in goal, anything can happen, because he's probably, if not one of the best keepers in the league.
Yeah, he's not bad, that's for sure. Leicester obviously, Vardy's struggling from open play, so obviously if they get a penalty, that'll be interesting because Vardy's always scoring those penalties. Castagna, Justin, obviously still playing. Pereira's coming back soon, so if you are doing a wild card, just be wary of that if you're bringing in James Justin, because Pereira will return into that side. So we move on to Monday. It's a 5:30 kick-off. Another absolutely terrible game. It's West Brom versus Burnley. Don't think anyone wants to be watching this. I have Dean Garner and Charlie Taylor in this game though, so it'll be interesting. Dean Garner obviously scored against Everton. That's his only return this season. Taylor's had a couple of attacking returns, but obviously they've struggled to keep clean sheets, so this will be interesting in terms of goals.
Yeah, I don't know which way this is going to go, to be honest. It depends which Burnley turns up, whether it's the one of this season or the one of last season. If the one of last season turns up, I can see a 1-0 West Brom. 1-0 Burnley. But if the Burnley of the team of this season turns up, it could be 2 or 3 goals to West Brom, because they do actually look alright going forwards, West Brom. So yeah, that'll be a really good one to see, and good one to judge how this relegation battle is going to play out.
100%. Burnley have looked completely opposite of what they've usually been like. They've usually been defensively solid, similar to Sheffield United really. defensively solid teams not looking defensively solid this season. So hopefully they can pick it up, because I know a lot of people have Burnley assets in that defence.
Yeah, so the last game of the weekend is one I'm actually really looking forward to. It's Leeds against Wolves. Both teams have a really good philosophy of play, two exceptional managers, and well, it could be a really fascinating game to watch tactically.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to that City game where you just see absolute gung-ho of two teams just trying to attack each other. Wolves obviously losing to 4-0 to West Ham, that was not a great result, then picked it up 1-0 against Fulham, so on a bit of an upwards spiral. Leeds on the other hand, they've looked great this season, you can't deny it. They've faced some difficult teams, Liverpool and Man City in their first four games, and they've played well.
Yeah, they're really playing a nice brand of football Bielsa's got on playing. We've seen this since Bielsa came in, they've looked really good. So maybe they can keep it up. I don't know which way it's going to go, because with these two teams it could go anywhere.
Definitely.
Right, so the final segment of the week is going to be the ones to watch. It's the outsiders, it's the people who you're not thinking about. Lewis, have you got an idea of a player who you think is going to be a surprise star this week? Someone maybe with less than 10% owned. Who do you reckon that could be?
I'll probably go for Morpie again. Means they got that big derby game against Crystal Palace on the weekends. Just got to turn up for that one. He's one of their key players. Brighton fans are probably going to put a bet on him. So yeah, if I'm going to go for an outsider, I'll go for Morpie.
Yeah, that is a great choice. He's only got 5 less points than Dominic Calvert-Lewin this season, something like that. So that is a really good option to go for, and I'd say there's definitely a good chance that he's going to score in that game. Josh, what's our one going to be this week?
So we're heading for a West Ham asset, and specifically Pablo Fornals. He's at 0.3% ownership, which is crazy. He's returned in his last 2 weeks, scoring 9 points and 14 points. He's facing Spurs, who obviously you'd think are decent defensively, but they haven't kept a clean sheet this season.
Yeah, Fornals could be that player to unlock that Spurs defence this week. I think we all know really that Spurs are going to score this week, but West Ham, if they want to get anything out of that game, Fornals has to turn up and he has to get creative. I think if he finds pockets of space in between the lines, like so many teams have done in previous weeks, I think it could be done. You've seen Everton do it, you've seen Southampton do it when they got those goals that they got. So that could be a really great option to have. Really differential, will be one that if he returns, he'll shoot you straight up the leagues.
Yeah, definitely. Him or Jarrod Bowen, both have been playing extremely well. West Ham are a good team to look at.
Right, so that concludes episode 5 of FPL Fridays. We hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you to Lewis for coming on. I hope you've had a good time.
I just hope we're on the scores now.
You gotta hope. It's been a really good episode. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and make sure you sub to Lewis as well. His links will be down below. I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
I'm Lewis.
And I'll see you
later.